And this is the Burkle Farm coming to you about a move that we needed to make here on this beautiful September afternoon. Nice and overcast. Here you can see Peter is smilingly, lovingly making a nice wide lane for the flurd to move through. We just learned that if you make them a bit wider, they don't get as panicked. That's thanks to an article from the Stockman Grass Farmer written by Temple Grandin. Here, our beautiful flock, they love to move because they know we've got something good for them to eat. But you'll see, as always, our cattle are slow to want to move. But there you go. All he does is he moves over that string, ties it up. They get a little bit confused for a moment, and then they head down the lane. They kind of know the drill from here. They start to associate every time that we move. They get something good to eat. But there you see Peter rounding up those cattle. They're kind of sluggish, kind of slow. These moves never go according to plan. Usually one or two or all three of the cattle like to jump the wire. And as you can see, yeah, there we go. There's the steer. He jumps the wire. And then that causes the little calf to kind of run around in a tizzy. You'll see what she ends up doing from here. But there's 14, our lovely 14. Our cow, she goes down the lane like a proper lady. But here's her calf just, oh no, what should I do? So I'm going to jump this wire. I'm going to join the steer because he's a wild man. And then, as these things go by, we get a little bit faster each time because they start to learn. And Peter's very diligent about using the same kind of way of handling them so that they get quicker to get back in line, back in the paddock with the rest of them. All right, so there's the flurd going down the lane. It's nice and wide. I am noticing that since we've started using the wider lanes, they aren't as panicked. This one went surprisingly very well. There he goes. That steer decided to get with the program. You saw him just buck off like that. He still doesn't quite want to get where we're going. You'll see it coming up ahead. He decided he was going to go in that little copse of trees rather than with the rest. And he also broke one of our fence posts. Hopefully you'll see a little bit of footage of that. There he goes. Bolting off. Now that paddock that you can see there, it's rich, it's luscious, it's gorgeous, thick with alfalfa, clover, all kinds of grass, delicious for them to eat. So they wanted to go there. So that might be another reason that this move went a bit easier. But as always, we need to close up that fence right away so that they don't wander off where they shouldn't be going. Look at them just chomping away. And there's my wonderful husband just going to work, tying up that fence. So you can see the broken post there that maybe you weren't able to see it very well. But that steer just panicked and broke it clean off. So, these things always happen when we need to do a move, something unexpected. But look at that paddock, though. Just how tightly packed in. There's barely any bare plots in that ground. It's so much different from when we bought this place. This field was significantly over harvested, over farmed. There was a lot of bare patches. It was a hay field. But just by doing this rotational grazing, letting them just eat in each paddock for just a day, and then it's time to move on, it has really helped to bring back to life. The other thing is that we've got a ton of rain. And we gave this paddock a significant rest. This is 42 days of rest for this particular paddock. And we're going to keep moving them up the hill each day. You can see it's really small, but they don't need much more than that. We're going to do it intense and furious eating for each day until we're done. There you can see Peter is fixing up that fence. Got to close them back in so that they know where to go. They don't start wandering off where they shouldn't be. Next up with this move, we had a southerly blowing wind, which means that the rams are south and they will smell those ewes. And when they smell them, that volt or that electricity from that fence is not going to keep them from those ewes. So you can see there, Peter is grabbing them by the leash and tying them up to that post. That is going to give them a physical barrier and a stop to breeding those ewes before we want them to. That silly George had to just lay down and pout for a minute there. But there he goes. He's fine. Peter ends up moving that post, so that he has plenty of fresh grass to eat. That's just how we kind of deal with it, so that he has some grass to eat and doesn't get at those ewes.